Welcome back, everybody. Michael LaFido. Have a really exciting guest today, but before I bring him on, just a reminder, if you guys have any real estate questions, shoot us a note. If you're watching this live, go ahead and chime in. You don't need to download anything. So whether you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, literally just type in your comments and you can ask me a question or you can ask our guest a question. Again, my email is michael@Marketing Lecture Group. For those of you that are watching a replay of this, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. Really excited to talk today with today's guest. I'm going to bring him on here in a minute, but just a reminder, if you are getting value from today's show or previous episode, please leave us a like, leave us a review. Again, we have some really exciting things we're working on. Our book, Secrets of Top Luxury Agents, is going to be releasing in early 2024. We have Tristan Ahumada, Elena Cardone. We have Jack Cotton, who's like an industry icon, Julie Foppel, just to name a few. So we're really excited about that. For more information, you can go to secretsofTopLuxuryAgents.com. We have a couple spots available still, where if you're interested in being featured, shoot us a note. We'll get you more details on that. All right. So before I bring my guest on, James, I have to give you a little background. So again, I, as you know, speak at different events across the country, and I was out in Colorado for an event in September. Elena Rodriguez and her husband Brian put together this Elevate event. It was amazing, and had heard of James, or AKA the Zillow Killer, but had never met him. So I was really honored to hear him speak, hear him present. It was very powerful. He talked about, he did this math equation, and it basically came down to number of days we have remaining in our life based on average age expectancy, and what are you doing to make each day count. So that was a really powerful message. But I'm going to bring James on right now. James, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you. Good.
Hey, how you doing?
All is well. All is well, Mike.
Good. Well, hey, first off, we got you. We got you on here as behind the studio. Your name says Zillow Killer, and we're going to talk a little bit about marketing best practices today as we ramp up our goal setting. Many agents have already completed their goal setting for 2024. So we're going to talk about best marketing practices, as well as AI. Of course, artificial intelligence is a big buzzword, but I gotta pull up this image here for those of you that saw the promotion of today's event. If you saw the promotion of today's event, this is the promotional image. You see James there, and he's got the Zillow Killer shirt on. And I want to bring that up because, you know, how does one come up with the name Zillow Killer? Give me a little backstory. There's got to be a backstory to that, and I'm sure our listeners would like to hear about it. So, James, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us, and tell everybody a little bit more about yourself, and then give a little backstory on the Zillow Killer, and then we'll go right into the topic today.
Yeah, of course. Real quick. I was had to speak at Inman, and it was just a joke. Honestly, we made these shirts that said Zillow Killer and had the company's name on them, and it was something that we wore around the office. Nothing crazy. It was just our thing, and we had one sweater, and one of the guys reached out to me the night before I was supposed to speak at Inman, and was like, "Yo, you should wear the shirt." So it said Zillow Killer on the front, had the company's name at the bottom, but it was really to promote the company. Like, it was just it was what is called as an anchor, right? For anybody that's ever heard me talk, no, I don't talk anything about Zillow, but anyway. And I got up, I spoke, and I never said my name at Inman. Like, I was so nervous. The first time I ever spoke, I just walked off the stage. Now, I didn't know when you leave the stage, there's a green room area. Now, when I was in the green room area in the beginning, nobody spoke to me. It was like I was like just the dirty kid in the school or something. Like, it just was weird how they treated me. So I didn't want to go back to the green room. And someone comes from the green room after I spoke. I did pretty well. Went and I grabbed my bags, and I didn't know you're supposed to stay in the green room until they let out. Right? There's a reason why, because they let you out and you're supposed to mingle with the crowd after, like you come out speak. So I just went straight, grabbed my bags. Everybody wanted to speak. Then I was like, I don't want to talk to you now. Grabbed my bag, left, went to the lobby, and I had two people that was waiting for me. And while I was waiting for the guys that I was with, they let out. And when the room let out, it's like 200 or so people just surrounded me and was like, "Hey, Zillow Killer, Zillow Killer." And I was like, "Okay." I text my assistant, was like, "Everything that says Zillow Killer, lock it down." That's how I got the name.
That's great. We talk about a hook, right? Differentiate. Everybody knows a real estate agent, and so in your case, just the wording on there was got people's attention. They're like, "Who is this dude?" So great story for the backstory. I appreciate that. So here we are. Many agents don't have plans for 2024 yet. They should, but as 2024 is approaching, here we are filming this end of November 2023. What are you seeing today as far as best practices, best marketing practices? Some agents, I know there's a lot of agents that have gotten into the industry the last few years, and they thought everything was is
That was
they
easy.
thought everything was easy, right? Business just landed in their lap, and they didn't have business plans, they didn't have marketing plans, they didn't do any digital marketing. Uh, so that's kind of part of the problem. But what are you seeing out there as part of the problem, and what are you seeing part of the solution from a marketing standpoint? Let's take the first few minutes to talk about marketing before AI.
So problem is that I think there are too many people talking about marketing that's not doing it. There are too many that people are regurgitating information that they heard, and they're not practitioners. So it makes the conversation very, very clouded, where it can easily be, well, what you're saying is right to a degree, right? But the weight of what you're saying isn't there because you're not a practitioner. That's the problem in our industry. So it's almost like perception being louder than the truth. That in itself is hard to combat, because if a person is repeating something that actually works, we'll might say that they're wrong, right? The difference is that they're not doing it, right? It's almost like when people talk about building a business and, you know, uh, making money, the conversation in a more general stance is correct, but you don't have any money, but you're telling me how to make money, right? So that part of our industry is bad, where everyone has an education stance of how they approach things, but they're not practitioners. So I think that pivot has to happen, but it's just easier to do that in the industry, right? I mean, the industry isn't the barrier to enter our industry is so low, it doesn't require a whole lot to be considered a professional here. But what's working has always been working, and it hasn't changed because the landscape of the internet hasn't changed either, right? When we talk about audio, we talk about video, that still works, right? The problem is how do we be effective at it? How do we be, I want to say be consistent, but I rather people understand consistency is only one part of the equation. Really getting good at podcasting and, which is audio, videos, right? Whether it be long form or short form, really getting good at it is where agents struggle. And the problem that they struggle in that arena is because the learning curve technically is you have to be bad at it at first so you can get good. And every agent wants to be good at it at first. And that's not how things work, right? So when we talk about audio and video, still works, right?
Mhm.
That's the marketing side of it, or the vehicle. And then we talk about using audio and video, creating some context behind what you're saying with the message. That's marketing, not just posting stuff. So, until we're willing to accept that, understanding that those two channels as a vehicle still work, right? We can talk about other stuff, but the vehicle work, and we have to be okay being bad at it so we can get good at the thing, right? So it's the best way to sum up marketing as a whole for us.
Yeah, and you mentioned that. Oh, a couple things you mentioned, but there's a lot of people that they don't practice what they preach, right? Or they
Mhm.
say, one of my taglines, I've said it for years, is it's not the market, it's the marketing, right? So
Correct.
when the market slows down, and sellers get frustrated, they might fire their agent, or an agent just blames the market on everything. My tagline is basically just that. Like, hey, what are you doing to create urgency? What are you doing to make your client's property stand above the competition digitally? We're in a dating app industry, swiping left and right, and the reality is what are you doing so that people swipe right on your listings, right? What's the hook? What are you getting their attention? And so that's one of the things that we're teaching agents. And so I know you do some training, consulting, speaking on a lot of different topics. Marketing is just one of those. And AI is really big today as well. Everybody's looking for most people think artificial intelligence is just chat GPT or a property description. What are you seeing? Uh, what are you seeing from an artificial intelligence standpoint, from an entry level to a more advanced? What are you seeing out there today that's, you know, perhaps a few months ago, agents weren't even doing?
I mean, agents aren't using it at all, right? I mean, it's more of a toy, right? And the problem is, it goes back to what I said in the beginning. There are people that are teaching and talking about it, and they're not practitioners, or not really understanding what the software offer. If we can back up, when we talk about marketing, the
Yeah.
internet, AI, all of that is nothing more than an advancement in communication. That's it, right? If we can just accept that everything we have access to is just communication, and we just have to be more effective in communicating, that's the game. And when we talk about AI, we really don't have true AI, right? We have, generative AI, which is generated. It's a blank canvas. It's not intelligent. It just responds based off the request we put in front of it. The great part about the AI or these large language models right now is, if we can give it enough context of what we want, the request is a lot more cleaner. It's more practical, right? Like right now, everything we like a chat GPT is nothing more than high end mathematics, right? It's finding what is the next word to say behind. So that's why people can, use it and not use what the responses that come from it, right? That's the downside to it. But it goes back to, if you can't communicate just to, just in general, it's a little harder to communicate with these softwares, because they are able to contextualize what you want and give you the right response that you can actually use. So most people aren't using these platforms as a practical, as a practical use. It's just something that they have, right? So property descriptions only make sense to them right now, which is easy, right? It's like, I want to get the listings up, get the pictures up, get a property description, and get it out there. I don't think people even care what the description says, right? It's just get it out there. And the levels of what these softwares can do, if all you see is property descriptions, then you miss the idea or the understanding that they are an advancement for communications. Like, it can make your communication a lot better. And if you can communicate, you can sell. And the essence of our business is all about communicating. Can't get it twisted, right? Like, it's not like, we have some hierarchy in a sense of professionalism. 2 weeks to get our license, paperwork, fill in the blanks, right? And we're able to communicate our value or who we are in front of enough people that a person decides to use us. But there is no hierarchy in this industry, right? There's no, this one is better. Just some people that's been doing a little bit longer, and other people that are new to it. But everything we have in a sense of AI, marketing, the internet, nothing more than communication. So, when we talk about advance or beginning, it's just using it and then understanding what it is first and foremost.
Hmm. Well, I got on the screen here, advancement in communication is something you referred to. So communicate is key. Uh, are you a DISC personality, a Myers-Briggs, Colby? You do any of those tests yourself?
I do, but it just depends on what day and time a person fills it out, or where they're gonna fall at. That's not an absolute for anybody.
Hmm.
There's some people that live by it, right? Like, I'm a high I, high D. And it depends on where I am at that time. One, because I like to research and understand things. So it depends on where my perspective is at that time. I don't think anybody is a monolith. I think
Hmm.
depends on where they are. So you can get one reading this month, and if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
really,
it could definitely change. We talked a little bit about marketing earlier. What are you seeing out there today that's besides the word probably consistency, right? Whatever you're doing, do it consistently. Um, what are you seeing out there? Anything uh, X's and O's, blocking and tackling, just the basic fundamentals? Or are you seeing something that's more cutting edge that some agents, team leaders are having some success with? Obviously, video is big today, right? Yet most agents still aren't consistently producing content or video. What are some things from a marketing standpoint or branding standpoint that you're seeing uh, some agents have success with?
I mean, again, you mentioned it, right? I don't know. For some reason we're looking for the new, and you know, there isn't anything really new. It's just things that we're more proficient with, right? And the better you are in a space, let's just say videos, right? You start doing videos, you're bad. You keep doing videos with intention, you get better, right? And then that becomes almost like a superpower for your business because now you understand the process or the vehicle of videos. Then you take that vehicle and now you put it to a platform. Pick a culture, right? That's what we're doing. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, pick a culture. And when we understand the culture, we're able to thrive inside that culture, right? So when we just say social media, we miss the cultural aspect of it. And when we just say videos, we miss the distribution side of what that offers. Because we live in a day and age where, and this is what we have to understand, we've never had this level of access, before, where we can distribute our message whenever we want, whether if people are listening or not. Like, we can become a media conglomerate if we wanted to, right? And it doesn't mean you have to have thousands and thousands of followers. You can have a loyal group of 100 people that just believe and buy into what you do. That if they believe and buy into what you do, they'll champion you to their neighbors and their neighbors' neighbors. And now you become it's just a hyper local domination structure for you, right? So, when we talk about tech, ain't no new tech out there, right? I mean, people saying it, right? Even when we talk about AI, 90% of the people that's using AI is building off of open AI API key, right? Open AI is the builder of ChatGPT. You know, the AI component is like I said, it's a blank canvas. It's just a buzzword now. It's just cool to say. But if we're using some of these softwares on a more practical side, right? Like, we understand ChatGPT is great for research. It's great for summarizing information. We have Claudia, that's excellent for idea creation. We have Midjourney, that's great for design. We have Describe, that's great for video editing and production, right? You piece the right tools together. Now you have a machine. But again, it goes back to, it's nothing more than an advancement of communication. If you're not going to communicate, none of what I mentioned even matter, right? It doesn't matter at all. And if you haven't gotten effective at communicating, it don't matter, right? So it's starting out communicating, getting better at understanding the message that you're trying to provide. Yeah, I know you want to sell a house. I know you want to get listens. That's easy, right? Well, I provide value. What does that mean? Right? Like, what does the value provide? Like, what are you doing that's so unique that a person should pay attention to it? Why don't we just focus on letting the person know who you are? Get to know who you are, like the person, and then they can decide the uniqueness that they've connected with, right? Doesn't matter what it is, right? But nothing in the sense of tech, in the sense of our industry, and we've seen it. We get people say, I see it all the time. Well, I got this new, and this is new, and that. Name something that's new that hit our industry that we can even connect it to. We have everybody having their own thing, right? Like, when messenger bots were big, everybody had their own messenger bot, right? We had KW, Star Kelly, and so we have AI. Everybody has their own open AI structure. They're all doing the exact same thing. But again, if you haven't accepted that they are nothing more than advancement of communication, and we get better at communicating, none of that software even matters.
Yeah, well put, well said, I should say. What tell me about a year in the life of James. How many events are you going to, real estate agent events?
That's
You
funny.
and I met. We brought up Inman. I'm headed to National Association of Realtors conference here in Anaheim. I was just in Cabo. Uh, more curiosity question. What do you? How many times you speak in a year?
No, I say no a lot, right? So I'm very selective. I done been there. I done did all that, right? It's not that I'm opposed to it. It just doesn't go anywhere, right? It really, really doesn't go anywhere. I'm more interested in how could I be of service to the industry or those that are around me, right? I'm not interested in dopamine hits. I'm not interested in being part of the cool club, right? How could I help you? And if I can help you, right, we can create some impact. We can provoke change. And I find that a lot of these bigger venues don't. It's just cool, right? It's a cool place to be. So I'm not caught up into the big stages. I'm going to places that I can actually help and impact. So right now, it's a case by case basis of what I'll say yes to, and then we have a lot. I mean, I have a really strong community collectively internally that we work with, which is called the Circle of Excellence, that I'm mainly focused on. Like these are people that privately coach with me, group coaching, and that we help directly, and that's what all of my attention goes right at this point. So the events, if you see me, it I've made that decision within a 30, 45 day, you know, time frame. You're not booking me out throughout I did that before, right? I've
Yeah.
been there. Like one time, Mike, I kid you not, every about twice, 2 weeks out of every month, I was gone completely. Right. I would come in, pack clothes, leave right back out. Come home for a day, going back out. I'm not interested in doing none of that anymore because it doesn't serve me and it doesn't serve the people around me.
Well,
So
you,
I'm
you brought
very
up Circle of Excellence, so that's kind of uh, a community you built. You
hmm
have a coaching consulting company. Is that correct?
yeah.
So where can somebody find out more about
No, that's invite only.
invite only? Oh my
Invite
goodness,
only. Yeah, yeah.
love it. So the
Um,
Circle of Excellence. So tell me about without giving away the secret
that's fine.
sauce. What what are the making people the best versions of themselves? How does how does James make the best version of of other agents?
hmm
What's the vertical niche? Is it on digital marketing? Is it marketing? What are if you were to say what somebody said what do you hang your hat on as far as your
hmm
specialist, right? Our course, our book, luxury specialist. Somebody wants to be a specialist in luxury. That's that's kind of where I can help them. Team leader, broker owner, individual agent. What's the circle of excellence? Where do they hang their hat on if somebody was invited to that group?
Well, we kind of moved through four pillars from mindset. Well, we go from Jesus. Now I drew a blank. Health consciousness. We
Okay.
focus on our fitness. We focus on our mindset. We focus on our business and leadership. Right. So really building up the intelligence behind certain components that will collectively move the needle forward. Which is, if you ever studied the Kaizen method, Kaizen goes into continual growth. Right. Continual improvement. Kind of follow that whole thesis of what that is. Um, but more than anything, we just create mirrors, right? You can't change until you actually know you need to change. So that's why we don't put it out there in a sense of, well, you can buy your way in. No, you have to be a good fit for us, just like we have to be a good fit for you. And that makes our community, it gives the exclusivity to what we do. Um, and we move like a family. Like, this year I rented out. I personally rented out a boutique hotel for us to come out. We did like a 3-day mastermind.
Wow.
I locked down a tour bus to take them around Philadelphia. So we do a lot of things that I personally come out of pocket to make sure we have. Right. Even just now, this last month, there are certain professionals that I think are really great at certain things in a sense of different advertising and marketing and more conversations that I'm not interested in having right now. Where YouTube ads, I'm not interested in talking about YouTube ads. Right? It's just not where my head is right now. So we lock down we our different creators that have courses and things that we think that we know that they're practitioners and that they're good at, And I personally went and bought the IPs for some of these companies so we can use internally, right? So they don't need to go out and buy all these courses. We spent, easy six figures to make sure the circle had access to like a dozen different
Wow.
uh, pieces of information that, like YouTube ads. One of the modules is like 30 videos. There's no way I'm going to do 30 videos on one module. Like, I'm not going to do that. So clearly he is more passionate about that than me. Let him go ahead. Right. So, that's kind of the process of where it is. So with the circle of excellence, it's more of it's a case by case, right? I mean, at least if you come out to the boot camp, that's where we kind of give access to the circle. But other than that, it's not something that's publicly out there, and we do that intentionally because we have a family structure. And like I said, these when we have events, they bring their families. You can see videos where they bring their whole families out, like kids, husbands. So we have a very strong community of how we operate, and it's about close to 1,000 or so people in there. So,
Wow.
um, but again, we have every person that's in the circle I've personally talked to, and have met either their spouses or someone that's part of their family that they feel as though we should know, right? So
Well, kudos
we,
to you to
we just
build
let
build up
everybody in
the
that.
circle of excellence. Having those kind of numbers and that kind of focus. Almost health, mindset, business, leadership. Some great things. We got the Zillow Killer here, and James. Any last parting thoughts that you want to share as people gear up? You got a lot of distractions with holiday parties, this, that, and the other thing. As 2024 is staring people down, you're our 270th episode. Got
Hmm.
about a month left to 2023. What do you recommend? Parting
Well,
parting thoughts?
no, I think there's a very good study called the diffusion of innovation. And I suggest everyone take some time to learn what that is, because if you understand what the diffusion of innovation is, you'll learn the different stages of when you see things that are unfamiliar and it has a strong technology pull. You do want to be in those first three stages of either an innovator, early adopter, or early majority. It's almost 100% possibility that you'll succeed. But we as agents have a way of waiting or pulling back, and we say things like, I'm not tech savvy and it's just too much. And there's nothing we're using that has user manuals anymore. Nothing. Everything has an intuitive approach to it. Everything. You turn it on, you use it. If you take some time, you can get better at it. So what I'll leave everyone with is be okay being bad at something so you can get good. Right? That is the learning curve. The learning curve is accepting you're not good at it right now. But if you stay consistent and you really, really are interested in trying to get better, accept I'm going to be bad at this now so I can get good. And that's the only way we're going to see progress.
That's a great message. I coached my son's eighth grade football team this year, and I had various guest speakers, and I had a gentleman that's he's he's in basic training right now. And Chase Keating, we gave this out to each of my players, one of
Oh,
these
very
toy
cool.
soldiers and an American flag, and just a little prayer. Home of the free because of the brave. But I bring that up to you, James, because he said something that really stuck out to me, and he was talking to football players.
Mhm.
He said the type of football player you are today doesn't define the type of football player you'll be in the future. In other words, hey, you might be a backup as an eighth grader, but you might be a stud on varsity as a junior or senior. And so you're talking about getting good at something. You might not be good today, but that does not define whether you'll
Mhm.
be good at it tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So really good information. Where can people find more information on you online, social media,
Mhm.
website?
Just look up Zillow Killer. You'll find me. I'm the only black dude out there. So
Look up Zillow Killer, and we now know why he was called the Zillow Killer. Inman, was it Inman, New York?
it was in New York. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
My first
Inman,
time
New York.
ever speaking. I was
Yeah,
scared.
good. Well, hey, James, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your time. and love what you're doing. Circle of Excellence for the industry. Hopefully, we'll see each other sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. James, the Zillow Killer, is providing some great nuggets, some great content, talking about marketing, talking about AI, talking about advancement in communication. Okay, advancement in communication. You notice how he talked about mindset, health, business, leadership. Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. And again, if you're not healthy physically, your mindset's not going to be where it needs to be. Your business isn't going to be where it needs to be. And ultimately you'll be a poor leader because you'll be frustrated. So again, there is kind of a holistic approach without knowing the whole thing about Circle of Excellence. First I heard about it, but I could tell that James is purposeful, and I was so impressed when I saw him speak in Colorado. Just a reminder, anybody, if you have questions at all for me, shoot me an email. If you have a question for James and you can't get a hold of him, shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. And just a reminder, more information on our book. We got it. We're so excited about that. It's coming out. It's coming together nicely. Some big, powerful people in the book. You'll see an image come across the screen right now. We got Glenn Stearns, undercover billionaire, Julie Foppel, founder of Realm, uh, Tristan Nahumada, Jack Cotton, Elena Cardone. So these are just a smidgen of some of our co-authors. Again, my name is Michael LaFido. Until next time, you're listening to another episode of the Luxury Listing Specialist podcast. Leave us a review if you're getting value, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.